Star Wars flies back into battle and an Oscar nominee returns to Somalia. I'm Bill Newcott, film critic for the Saturday Evening Post. All that and more on this week's podcast, Movies for the Rest of Us.
When I found you, I saw raw, untamed power. And beyond that, something truly special.
You know, there are Star Wars spin-offs and Star Wars TV shows and Star Wars comic books. But for most of us, the only Star Wars that really counts are the ones that follow the plot and the characters that were introduced in the original film, Star Wars, back in 1977. Star Wars: The Last Jedi is number 8 in the series. You'll remember part 7 a couple years ago when we caught up with Han Solo and Princess Leia and Chewbacca and R2-D2 after nearly 40 years. This installment focuses in large part on Luke Skywalker, played by Mark Hamill. It turns out Luke has been hiding out on an island in an ocean on a planet far, far away. He's turned away from his life as a Jedi Knight, but young Rey, the rebel played by Daisy Ridley, is determined to get him back to help the battle against the bad guys. It's good to see Hamill again, and he does a nice job as a haunted, but still innocent at heart, Luke Skywalker.
I've seen this raw strength only once before. It didn't scare me enough then. It does now.
You know, one of the best things about this installment of the Star Wars story, directed and written by Rian Johnson, is that it shed all that annoying mysticism about the Force. The Force is still there, of course, but its pretentious navel-gazing that was in so many of the other films, well, that's been zapped like a droid with a short circuit. That leaves more time for some terrific action scenes in space, on the ground, and in big, scary rooms. And it's also the beginning of an interesting relationship between Rey and the conflicted, horse-faced son of Han Solo and Princess Leia, played by Adam Driver. A lot of the things we see happen, we've already seen, so there's a nagging sense that perhaps the series is caught in a closed circuit. But most long movie series are, in effect, variations on a theme. Star Wars delivers everything that its fans would want, and for that, most of them will always be willing to stand in line for tickets on a line that stretches to a galaxy far, far away.
Look at me, sure. Look at me, sure. I'm the captain now.
In 2014, Barkhad Abdi, an immigrant from Somalia, was nominated for an Oscar playing a Somalian pirate opposite Tom Hanks in Captain Phillips. Now he's starring in another movie about Somalia, one that dramatically explores the social and economic conditions that created the Somalian pirate crisis in the first place. The Pirates of Somalia stars Evan Peters as a real-life Canadian writer, Jade Bahadur, who decided to break into the reporting business by becoming the first Western writer to enter Somalia during that country's descent into near anarchy in 2008.
You are one of my favorite journalists of all time.
So you're a journalist?
No, well, I mean, yeah, I want to be.
You want to make it as some big journalist. You gotta go somewhere crazy.
I'm gonna go to Somalia and write a book on the pirates.
Somalia?
AIDS.
Isn't that a problem there?
I'm going to write about the pirates, Dad, not sleep with them.
Filmed under harsh conditions in Africa, the film was physically punishing for Peters, who told me the experience helped him understand the plight of Somalia's people, many of whom have become refugees.
It's the surrounding circumstances of Somalia that have forced young men into piracy in order to survive. And that was truly powerful for me to learn. And it's just all about empathy and compassion for a culture that has been misportrayed in media and in movies.
I'm a journalist, it's okay, don't shoot me!
Barkhad, there's obvious contextual connections between this film and Captain Phillips. He's even mentioned in the film. What do you want audiences to know about the people of Somalia?
You know, this movie did a wonderful job exploring the culture and, you know, showing the humor. The difference between this movie and Captain Phillips is one incident that happened to a group of people, and this movie, it's more about someone that doesn't know anything about the culture, about the people, and just going there and exploring. It was really well done. It's, you know, there's a lot of things that's in this movie that even Somalis that was born here wouldn't know about it.
One bag?
Yeah, one bag.
You like Obama, a man that knows what he wants.
You know Obama?
Of course, he will be a great leader for your people.
I'm Canadian. He's not my leader.
Of course he is. Your people just don't know it.
Pirates of Somalia is a nail-biting action film, but it also paints a sympathetic picture of Somalia's people, and even many of the pirates who believe that their actions are justified in light of how the Western world stripped the country of its resources and then abandoned it. Highlighted by fine performances, The Pirates of Somalia is that rare action film that manages to thrill and inform its audience. It's Christmas time, and that means the theaters are packed with notable holiday movies. Here are my holiday quick hits.
Spent $5 million on this movie, Greg.
Are you kidding me? $5 million?
And they are not grateful. Nobody respects my vision.
James Franco directs and also stars in the title role in The Disaster Artist, the true story of Tommy Wiseau, a mysterious man who in 2003 made what many consider the best, worst movie ever made, a film called The Room. Franco's brother Dave plays Tommy's best friend, and it's among the oddest, most intriguing buddy movies you'll ever see.
Do you have the papers?
Not yet.
Gather round, children, and I'll tell you a tale of a time when people used to get their news off pieces of paper. These newspapers were called newspapers, and one of the most important newspapers was the Washington Post. Steven Spielberg's new movie, The Post, is about how the paper defied the government to publish the Pentagon Papers in the 1970s. Meryl Streep plays the owner, Tom Hanks plays the editor, and that star power alone is enough to make The Post one of the year's best films.
What are you going to do, Mrs. Graham?
That's Dave Johnson.
Hey, everybody.
And Carol. He never struck me as the kind of guy who'd go get small.
Downsizing takes the pressure right off.
Plus, you're really making a difference.
You mean all that crap about saving the planet?
Yeah.
Downsizing is about saving yourself. We live like kings. Got the best houses, best restaurants, Cheesecake Factory. Got 3 of them.
What if Honey, I Shrunk the Kids became Honey, I Shrunk the World? Well, that's the concept behind Downsizing, the new film from Alexander Payne, who usually makes pointed, small-scale social comedies like The Descendants in Nebraska. Matt Damon plays a guy who joins a worldwide shrinking fad, but he learns getting small can cause big problems. Christoph Waltz and Kristen Wiig round out a great cast, but Downsizing, after a blisteringly funny start, sort of loses its way halfway through as Payne tries to make his mini-story explore a lot of big ideas. Well, that's our podcast. For more on the movies, go to SaturdayEveningPost.com/movies. And for all my reviews, interviews, and videos, come to my website, moviesfortherestofus.com. For the Saturday Evening Post, I'm Bill Newcott.